So now we shall discuss noise pollution. I think every day you come across noise pollution. Noise is undesirable and unwanted sound. Somebody takes a big bike, accelerates it in front of your house. That is undesirable sound. Okay. Somebody accelerates his car in lower gear. That is undesirable sound. Noise may not seem as harmful as the contamination of water or air, but is a pollution problem that affects human health and can contribute to a large deterioration of to the general deterioration of environmental quality. See, this noise actually it leads to a lot of mental problems. I don't know whether you have heard of this. People who stay close to the railway tracks, you know, or near to the highways and all, they'll have a lot of problems with this. And some people close to the industries where a lot of noise is made, it causes a lot of problem to the people who stay nearby. What are the causes of noise pollution? There are several sources of noise pollution that contribute to both indoor and outdoor noise pollution. Noise emanating from factories, vehicles, playing of loudspeakers during various festivals can contribute to outside noise pollution, while loudly played radio or music systems and other electronic gadgets can contribute to indoor noise pollution. So noise pollution can be from external sources or in your house also. In if your house you are playing TV, music, all the DJ sound and all, it can cause problem to some people. Okay, this is undesirable. See, some people may like it, some people may not like it in the same house. So those who do not like it, it becomes a pollution to them. And external pollution can be from factories, vehicles, or loudspeakers. So, what are the effects of noise pollution? The most direct harmful effect of excessive noise is physical damage to the ear and the temporary or permanent hearing loss. So, what happens, nowadays even a lot of students use a lot of earphones and also they can damage the ear and cause loss, that is temporary or permanent loss of hearing. See, whatever I am speaking now, you are able to hear because the sound is almost 50 to 60 decibels. Okay. So, below a sound level of 80 decibel, the decibel is the units for measuring the sound. Okay. So, below a sound level of 80 decibel, hearing loss does not occur at all. So, as I said, this what you are hearing, you may be hearing at 50 to 60 decibel only. So, it will not cause any problem. However, temporary effects are noticed at sound levels higher than that. 80, more than 80 is 100, 120 decibels and all, it causes problems. Not only physical problems, it causes mental problems also. Okay, a lot of people are having headaches, migraines and all because of noise pollution. Then how to reduce the noise pollution? There are four fundamental ways in which noise can be controlled. Reduce noise at the source, block the path of the noise, increase the path length and protect the recipient. For example, now I am recording this lecture. My wife is grinding in the mixie. So that noise was coming. So what I have done, I have closed my bedroom door. So what I have blocked the path of the noise. So she is doing it, her activity in kitchen. I am in the bedroom. So I have by using the doors, I have blocked the path. So this is one way. Otherwise, reduce the noise at the source. I can request her, Baba, don't start your mixie now. Let me finish my recording. Thereafter, you can do that. Also, she does. Okay. So if you tell people, then you can reduce the noise at the source itself. I think you can hear that mixie running now slowly. And increase the path length. Increase the path length means, see now, if I was sitting in the kitchen or my hall, then the noise would have been more. So I have come to the bedroom now. So here I have increased the path length. So now the noise pollution is less here. In general, the best control method is to reduce noise level at the source itself. So source itself means, as I was telling, this mixie will make noise, definitely make noise. So if you have buy a good quality mixie, it may produce less noise. Low quality mixie may give you more noise. Okay, that is why you see nowadays, even our college, you have got the diesel generator set. So that has got a acoustic chamber, so that the noise is absorbed. Source reduction can be done by effective muffling vehicles and machinery to reduce the noise. I was talking about DJ set. Okay. Even your silencer in your bikes and cars, you got silencer, na? What are they? Silent. The name itself is silencer, so they reduce the noise. They have got baffle plates, so that the sound hits and gets attenuated, means its intensity reduces. In industries, noise reduction can be done by using rigid sealed enclosures around the machinery lined with acoustic absorbing material. So, if a machine is making a lot of noise, then what they do, they'll make a small enclosure for that, and it will be that enclosure will be lined with acoustic absorbing material like the diesel generating sets. If you go and see any DJ set, these are got acoustic absorbing material throughout the body, so that the sound is absorbed. Another best method of noise reduction is regular and thorough maintenance of operating machinery. Uh, this see if you have seen your fans, all these rotating motors, pumps and all, they make noise because they are rotating by virtue of their rotation. So if you lubricate them properly, if you put that oil, the friction is reduced, and because of friction, the noise also is reduced. I think this you might have seen in our college water pump also. When it was running, it was making a lot of noise. So we have provided lubrication to the bearing. Now the noise gets reduced. Okay, noise level at construction site can be controlled using proper construction planning and scheduling techniques. See, this planning and scheduling means what they do, no? See, people are staying in the locality. So if construction is happening, then they start the construction after 10 o'clock and finish it before 5 o'clock. So that when people are out for their office or house or schools and all, no, that time the construction activity is undertaken. And not only that, you might have seen when they are planning for construction, they put big sheets so that the sound is not heard to the outside people. That kind of planning is done by at the construction sites also. Now we shall look at thermal pollution. Thermal pollution is the act of altering the temperature of the natural water body, which may be a river, lake, or a ocean environment. Suppose you have got Kaiga power plant here now. Okay, nuclear power plant. So they are using water for the cooling, and there that hot warm water they are sending it to the river. Okay, so this is thermal pollution, but they have got taken steps. I will explain it subsequently. The discharge of warm water into river is usually called thermal pollution. Okay, and mostly it happens in industries and these power plants. Cause of thermal pollution, it occurs when an industry removes water from a source, uses the water for cooling purpose, and returns the heated water to the source. Power plants heater to convert it into steam to drive the turbines that generate electricity. The steam is condensed into the water. Then when it leaves the turbine. See, power plants, what we do, you take water, convert into steam. That steam drives the turbines which generate electricity. The steam is condensed and again sent back to the boiler where it is converted into steam. This condensation of steam is done by taking water from the water body to absorb the heat. Like I was telling, this Kaiga nuclear power plant. So that is situated close to this Kali river. They take the water from the Kali river. This heated water is discharged back into the water body. This condition chiefly arises from the waste heat generated by industrial process such as certain power generation plants. There can be significant environmental consequences of thermal pollution with respect to surface receiving water such as rivers and lakes. In particular, decrease of biodiversity and creation of environment hospitable to alien aquatic species may occur. The effects of thermal pollution we shall see. The warmer temperature decreases the solubility of oxygen and increases the metabolism of fish. Very important thing. See what happens as the temperature of water increases, the solubility of oxygen in the water reduces. I already told you water will have around 3 to 4% of oxygen. So if the temperature increases, that oxygen reduces. Dissolved, that is known as dissolved oxygen, and that will damage the aquatic life. First thing. Second thing, it also improves the metabolism of the fish. This changes the ecological balance of the river. Sudden changes in temperature caused by the periodic plant shutdowns, both planned and unintentional, can result in death of these fish which are acclimatized to living in warmer waters. Suppose now we are living in this place. Now we are living in Karwar, Goa and all. It's a warm place. Okay, so you go to Shimla or Himalaya for 1 month, then what will happen? There will be sudden change in the temperature. So there will be problem with the health. Okay, if you stay there for long. For short 1 or 2 days, 1 week visit and all you can manage. Why? Because we are now our bodies are acclimatized to this warm climate. Okay. Similarly, the fishes they are acclimatized means they are used to this kind of warmer waters. But when the power plant is shut down, then what happens? It becomes cold, so they may die. Due to the decrease in the dissolved oxygen levels, there is suffocation of plants and animal species, which create anaerobic conditions. Yes, very important. See, as I was telling, this oxygen which is available in water, they are known as dissolved oxygen. So that gets reduced because of increase in the temperature, and that leads to the suffocation of plants and animal species. Okay, anaerobic means in the absence of air. The sudden change in the temperature causes harm to the aquatic organisms. The heated water is used for irrigation purpose to extend plant growing seasons. Now, how to control this thermal pollution? Thermal pollution can be controlled by passing the heated water through a cooling pod or a cooling tower after it leaves the condenser. The heat is dissipated into the air and the water can then be discharged into the river or pumped back to the plant for use as cooling water. So very important, instead of just having a condenser, they are having a cooling tower also. So water in condenser, normally it is water to water heat exchange. But in a cooling tower, you see in the parabolic structure cooling towers, no? What happens in cooling tower, the water is made to fall from the top, so that when the droplets are falling from the top to the bottom, the cold air which is going from the bottom, it takes away the heat. Okay, there is some evaporation. That is why you find some vapors coming out of the cooling tower. So 3 to 5% of the water gets evaporated, and also the air takes away the heat. So heat is not come to the water; it is sent to the air. Next method. One method is to construct a large shallow pond. Hot water is pumped into one end of the pond and cool water is removed from the other end. The heat gets dissipated from the pond into the atmosphere. See here, this method is used in the this Kaigan power plant. They are not directly sending the water back into the river. They are not directly sending. See, they have got a pond. So it is the water stays there for some time, and here the water will dissipate the heat to the atmosphere air, and then when it becomes cold, then it gets into the river stream. So this method they are following, so that the hot water directly is not sent into the river. So there is intermediate pond. The second method is to use a cooling tower. Here warm water is coming from the condenser is sprayed downward over vertical sheets or baffles where the water flows into the thin films. So cool water enters the tower through the water inlet, which encircles the base of the tower and rises upward, causing evaporative cooling. So as I was telling, this parabolic cooling towers, which are huge buildings you might have seen, where small water vapors are coming out. So they are used here. The water will give away the heat to the air. The waste heat is dissipated to the atmosphere about 100 meters above the base of the tower. The cool water is collected at the floor of the tower and recycled back to the power plant. So as I told, the water flows from the top to the bottom. When it is falling from top to the bottom, okay, and the air is flowing from bottom to the top. So this way, it is a counter flow like, and it is a very there is nothing, no technology involved here. Water is falling from the top. They have got a platform there. It will have baffles, and water flows in the form of droplets or films. Okay, and the cool water which enters from the bottom rises to the top. That is why the hyperbolic structure is provided for natural convection. There is no fan involved here. So this is like natural cooling tower. Otherwise, some cooling towers may also have fans. That is known as forced draft cooling towers. Okay. So, thank you.